Would stand and please face the flag after me. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. You want to take a roll call?
Okay, Mr. Hamill.
Here.
Mr. Bruno.
Here.
Mr. Facto.
Here.
Mr. Randall.
Here.
Mr. Parati is not here.
All right. All board members have been provided with a copy of the minutes of the last meeting. A motion will be entertained to approve and accept the minutes of the regular meeting of February 28th of 2023, providing that there are no additions, deletions, or corrections. So that would take a motion. I motion to approve.
I'll second.
He beat you by half a second.
There's minutes here.
By Reg. And
I misspelled that, sorry.
all right, so the motion to accept the previous minutes was made by Sherm and it was seconded by Reginald Facto.
Okay, Mr. Hamill.
Yes.
Mr. Bruno.
Yes.
Mr. Facto.
Yes.
Mr. Randall.
Yes. All right, addresses.
I just got a quick.
Okay, so I got some of this. Go ahead.
Okay.
Top, but
Yep.
we both did the same work because I have printed all your stuff in my head, so I got copies for everybody.
Okay.
And I got a little bit more than what you have, so I'm gonna hand this out to the board members while you start speaking.
Okay. The one thing I was going to just quickly go over. It sounds like you got all of the stuff, so I don't know what you want me to actually go over or not. But the website project report, I wanted to give an update on that. The last month has been very, very productive. From the project status report, you'll see that I estimate the completion of the website to be about 97%. And there's a lot of good reasons why. Implementation of the links are now available, so we can add links underneath each department that go to outside websites. It's its own separate entity, it's its own separate thing. I posted up for the town clerk the tax bills website for BAS. I also posted up the New York codes, billing and codes for codes and zoning. That goes to the New York State website or the vendor that New York State pays. So that has been implemented and is working well. A complete collection of flyers, recreation flyers, and registration forms. So yeah, there is a lot of content, a lot of colorful content, a lot of attractive content on the website. Just following up on some statements that were made from the last meeting. After last meeting, I went and did an ADA compliance report and as well as a World Wide Web Consortium site review, and found that our site is in compliance with the newest 2.1 of the standard, and also the code on the site is in compliance as well with the World Wide Web Consortium. So things are checking out reasonably well. There was a couple of things that came up, but I believe it was actually with the tool, the checking tool. I found that it wasn't picking up certain things that were actually there. So, but that's all good. I also implemented the UserWay widget, which from a statement was made that other sites have an ADA compliance widget. So we implemented the ADA UserWay widget, which is what some of the other local townships and other areas are using. A collection of uploads for the historian and the community events. So there was a 175th flyer that we made that had all the information that was given to us, as well as the article that we posted, and also a Music in the Parks flyer that was made, along with all of the data that was basically given in a brief article. So those things were posted. The events and the events calendar is fully implemented. Article categorization is now complete and active. So that means when an article is assigned a category, so like recreation department, it shows up on the recreation department's page. If for the 175th article and the music in the parks article, I know that the historian works with that, so that has actually been tagged with historian, and that gets put on that department's page. So there's a lot of work there. There's a reorganization of article ordering, so that all articles are underneath the news section of the site, and they're most recent to the latest. And so all articles get posted there no matter what. Communication points. So now we have communications with all contacts on all the boards. So they know to send me meeting minutes and agendas. And also the final thing that we implemented was programmable header images. So now when you go to the department page for the highway department, the trucks show up. When we go to the page for the recreation department, the recreation, the field out here gets brought up, a picture of the field.
Yeah, I added those into your guys at the back if you want.
So into the portfolio. So a lot of great work. Things are really wrapping up. And just a quick list of the issues still is there's still content to be added. I'm still waiting for some content from people. There's a couple corrections that I guess I could have posted the content, but I chose to just notify some people of some corrections that I thought should be made. Waiting to hear back to see if we want to make those or do we want to post it like it is. I also think we need to establish some standard operating procedures of who and what should be posted on like the homepage. I know there's been requests made to put stuff up or pull stuff down, and I just think we need to have some guidelines on how do we determine what should and what should be up there and what should not be up there. I don't want to do something that one group wants and another group doesn't. I don't want to be that middle decider. And then finally, we need to schedule a training session for at least a couple people to basically, so they can add their own content if they want, or know how to add content if they want.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
I think that training part, you've been down here a couple different times and we tried to get to that, but it seems like by the time you get done with everything else we're doing at the time, the 3 times you've been down, we just never really got to the training part.
Right.
So I agree that needs to be done so that each individual department, whether it's the rec department or Donna, the town clerk, can post some minutes and stuff, and
Yep.
that definitely is a need. So I'll get with you to work out the details on when everybody's available.
Yep, sounds good.
So that we can get that part done. Does anybody on the board has any questions?
Just to, Patrick, in terms of deleting items from months ago, would you just go ahead and delete them? Certain items that are...
Well, I see what
or-
he's saying, like
Sure.
if I ask him to put something up, or, Sam asked him to put something up, and then somebody says, okay, that's been up there for a while, we probably don't need that anymore. He's just looking to see probably who has authority to actually say, yep, take that down.
To do that.
So, those are things that are growing pains, so one thing that was overlooked. And I think that would be pretty, easily resolved by this board, that stuff.
Right. The one thing that I do right now is I put like tonight's meeting. I have an expiration of today. So tomorrow that automatically disappears
Yeah.
because from the front page.
Yep.
It stays in the news in the link. So it's an archive that we had it up, it's there, but it won't be on the front page anymore.
Perfect.
It's when it's like things requests that get made to be put up that doesn't have an expiration date. Who determines if they go up, and then who determines when they can come down? And I just
Yeah, I think, like I said, that one's gonna be really easy for us to get you something. Definitely each department should have a say in when things are up or not that they've asked to be put up. Our code enforcement officer is gonna break his arm trying to get my attention. Go ahead, Howard.
Just wondering, is there a way that we could have a passcode per department? So Sam can take care of his, I can take care of mine, Donna can take care of hers.
Yeah.
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
And that's
Yes.
the only
Yeah,
way to
just
get
try to
it.
address the board though, Howard, and, you know, somebody in the audience.
Oh, I'm
but
sorry.
Yeah, like I say, that's a, I don't see where we couldn't work something out like that. I really don't.
Yes, so I think like once we get training, users can, like department heads could pull their own data off or let me know. I just, that's the other area that it gets a little touchy that I want to just make sure we're doing things properly is if I get sent something, I want to post it exactly as it was sent. I don't want to be touching the content because then I've edited it and
Right.
that shouldn't be. So
Yeah, especially with like the historian stuff and things of that.
meeting minutes or anything, yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, those are good questions to the board, yes. All right. That's it? I appreciate it, sir.
Are we at some point gonna be able to put our own up, take our own down, or get things the way we want them?
Okay, so, tell me if I'm wrong. Once we get through the training, which is the biggest part of this, that's what I would like to do. He can tell me if it's possible. That's exactly what I'd like to do is, like, even Donna, like, as far as putting the next month's meetings, minutes, after we approve, say February's tonight, she should be able to go in there and just pop those up, rather than having to contact Mr. Garso to do that. Same thing with you. If you have events that you're able to, you know, post on there, you should be able to post those yourself to look at, you know, to make sure that the town residents can look at those and the youth can look at them at the youth program. So, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's definitely something that we were just talking about, that we need to get each, and it may be, I don't want to speak for everybody here, but to me, it would make sense that if we're gonna do trainings like that, that we narrow it down to a couple people.
So they can actually touch it.
You have a lot that has to be, as far as Sam, with the recreation department, you have a ton of stuff that is individualized and has to come up by certain deadlines and certain
Yeah.
dates for registration. So I might even recommend that you and Pat sit down just whenever you can get together amongst
So
yourselves.
I emailed him about putting some deadlines on registration forms, and he told me he couldn't do that because then next year he'd have to change the registration form. I don't get why that's,
So
you
Okay,
have
so-
to, you can't just go in and change the date on something.
All right, so,
Technology today, I mean, maybe when I was born in the Stone Age, but, you know.
so, again, these are electronic documents that you would have to,
So the concept behind the registration form is a non-changing entity. So in other words, the flyers, once a year you would update your flyers to have your deadlines and everything like that. The form is just a blank form that gets filled out. So putting dates and specifics on each form would mean that form needs to get updated. The concept that standard practice would say that you just want to have an empty blank form that can be filled out anytime, any year. So that form can be reused every year. The only thing that changes is the flyer that would have the dates, and the article would post, these are your registration dates and your limitations. We can do it any way that the town wants. It's just that would make it so that those forms are not recyclable, that they have to get updated yearly, as well as flyers would be created yearly.
but is it something that he could do as a department head? Could he go in there after,
The
the
form is in a
training.
different application. By all means, we can train him on doing that, but that's not in the website. It gets done. That's in Adobe. So the town would actually want to purchase Adobe Professional, which allows you to edit PDFs, and then you could do that. Which I believe the town can get it underneath state contract or something like that. But you need a piece of software, and then those forms get updated.
A lot of people are gonna go on there, they're gonna see the flyer, and they're gonna say, oh my God, yep, I gotta register, and they're gonna click on the registration form, and then they don't know when it ends. So now they gotta go back and they gotta read the flyer. My other question was to you the other day about, so now that the registration form comes in, people aren't sending the waivers in. So you're telling me that they've gotta send a separate waiver to match every one of those registration forms, otherwise, because
That's
that was what I was talking to you about the wording on the first part, on the registration form itself.
Your question is, you would like to have the waiver attached to whatever form they're filling out for
Well,
soccer?
no, what I wanted was on the registration form to say that I have read, I understand, and I will adhere to the waiver form. That way, to me, once they sign it, it's on them. It's now, the way it is right now, without that, the way I understand it is that they have to send in a separate waiver form. So for the 3 registrations I've been able to get, I don't have any waiver forms.
Because they don't realize they have to fill out that other waiver.
Yeah,
but the registration
I
form says.
don't see the, 3 behind that.
So I guess, is that something that we can
I don't know.
incorporate in?
I guess so. One of the questions I had a while back when that question was first asked is, what is the legality of a waiver form? Can you just say, on the registration form that you agree to the waiver form and not have the waiver form attached? Because I just know, like, for contracts in law and stuff, like, you have to have a signature on the page of which the waiver is.
Right.
So my first question is, I guess, one of legal. So.
Yeah, so that's something that we can work out, because if that's a question you want to pose, it should be posed to us.
Okay.
Not
Yes.
directly to my lawyer,
Okay.
the town lawyer, okay, because he works for us, not for you. Secondly, that's a question that should come to the board,
Okay.
and then we can find out that legality.
Right.
But I don't want to put the town attorney on the spot to have to answer something without the chance for him to get to research things.
Well,
If you're willing to answer that question posed from the board.
yeah, I'm happy to answer it because I've had a lot of experience having worked on a swim team board for 15 years or something. And the sad fact of the matter is what Sam is describing is a problem throughout. People will not read a form. They get through the first sentence and the part that they're interested in, and they don't read the rest of it. So, to me, it's just a matter of tailoring your form so that, the form could include the waiver. So you sign once and it includes everything. Okay, so your application has the waiver on it, and you sign once and you're all done.
That's what Sam was asking for, that they only have one signature.
Right now,
for
they're separate,
the
so,
sport, and then they're also signing a waiver by that same signature.
Right.
So if we can get maybe with you to get correct.
Oh, you don't have your waiver already? It sounded
He
like
has
you had.
a waiver,
yeah,
but
there
if he's not-
there is a waiver.
So I think you just meld the forms into a single form with a single signature at the end.
Okay, so
Yeah.
just, if I understand it, it'd be like making a very long registration, or just extending the registration form to include the verbiage of the liability in the registration form.
So people would fill out the top and then they'd sign at the bottom.
Bottom and right in between.
And whether or not they read the waiver, it's there.
That's what I was hitting at, on a 11x7, I don't know
Yeah,
if he's gonna get that all on one piece of paper without going front to back or something like that, but
Yeah.
if you did have to go front to back, just make sure, maybe if that would work, they're filling out the front of it, but maybe we could have the signature on the back of the page so that they have to sign
But-
for everything at the end, and that way.
So just
attorney is
some
saying
details that
you
we
can
can
meld
work
them
out.
together, but the final signature is for everything. The information, they've read all this, now they're signing.
But
Does that make sense?
the flip side is I kind of agree with your idea is that you have one form that doesn't change from year to year, and your flyer explains that this is the deadline.
Yeah.
So that only the flyer gets changed. Otherwise, you're changing,
Forms every year.
yeah, way too much. But, that's a,
I don't want to do something that's, going to hurt the town, so, yeah, we'll work to just validate it. I'll send you a proposal, and then, you can work with him to get it.
Yeah, I'll just forward it.
Thumbs up and
No
we
more
can do it.
about that.
So we can address it, Sam.
Sam, did you have anything else for the board?
What's that?
Did you have any other questions for me? Now, wait, I guess, George is, the 10 minutes. I did have one other, addressee tonight. I apologize, it didn't get onto the, agenda. So, Mr. Martin, if you would like to,
Hi, my name is George Martin. I'm with Think Energy. We're a brand new power company that just launched 2 weeks ago in New York, but we're also in 19 states. The big thing about this program is we're
Martin?
able now, just,
make sure you're addressing
yeah,
the board.
we're able to offer community solar, which is a huge savings for your, not only your town board, but your town residents, which means nobody has to purchase one piece of equipment to go on your property anymore. We are tied in with NICEC, National Grid. We own these big solar farms. We're taking that energy, putting it onto the grid. Customer just signs up with community solar through our website. The billing stays the same, nothing changes. NICEC still bills you every month, but we're gonna offer you 5% discount. It's off the total, you got a delivery side and electrical side. Don't think of it as dollar amount 5%. What it is community solar calculations that's saved up through your solar connections from what comes in. Each month might be different because of where the sun is. So that could be huge for you. And for an example, we're in Maine also now, and we've seen their bills go from 19 cents down to 13 cents a kilowatt. And we're estimating ours to go down from 9 down to 4. So with it being on the delivery side as well as the electrical side, it's huge savings for you guys. And all you gotta do is so simple. You just go to thinkenergy.com/gmartin. Website comes up, you click on community solar, you click either NICEC or National Grid, then 5% pops up, they just fill out the information off your bill, it's done deal. And it's locked in for 20 years, it never changes, you're gonna get that savings. If something happens, say a year, 6 months down the road, you decide you're getting a better deal from someplace else, you wanna leave, leave. We're not gonna penalize you, nothing. It's that simple. This company, even though it's a new company, the co-founders are from past power companies that have been throughout the states, and they're the hugest power companies in the United States. And now we're giving this technology to the residents. So people that have apartments that could never get solar, or has trees over their roofs, could never get solar. Now you can get solar without purchasing it and get the savings.
Any other towns in
I'm
Clinton
working
County
personally,
have
myself
contracted?
personally, because another power company I used to work with, and we're working with all the towns from Schroon Lake all the way up to Fort Covington. I've already met with all the supervisors, and it's just a matter of it getting in front of their town boards and then set the date when they're gonna get on. I know the next one coming up here is Blackbrook and E-Town. And E-Town's been with me for the other power company for almost 10 years. And because of what I did for them there, they're interested in this because of being locked in. Because if you look at the National Grid and NICEC websites, they're telling you your kilowatt rates are gonna go up 3-4% in the next year. So you get into this, you're locked in right now. And it can never raise.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Martin, I
All right.
appreciate it.
Just think of that, thinkenergy.com, /G Martin. That's the website where all customers can come in, and even your residents can do it. And then the 5 cents pops up and they just fill out their information off their bill, and they're now a customer.
So, that's something that we can discuss, so I'll discuss with the other board members. It's probably more, I wanted to let you be able to speak to the full board rather than me reiterate what you wanted to say.
Yeah, since I talked to Kevin, I mean, because this is all new for me too. I wasn't aware that it was the 5% off the total bill. So you're getting a 5% discount off your delivery, which no power company gives a discount off the delivery. We're the first to do it.
So like I said, once we got to the work session, and we'll have you back.
Okay.
And then you can address the board, and we can discuss whether it's the town would like to do anything with that.
Okay,
All right?
thank you.
Thanks for your time, I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, that brings us to the end of our addresses tonight. I have a few communications that I have received. Killing some trees tonight. All right, so, the board had asked me again to look into, the cell phones. This is what we ended up, Carrie sent me a new estimate after she went through everything, because we had a few questions after the last one. It's pretty self-explanatory. Your designated SAM, the account for the internet is $72.97. 10 phone lines at $29.99 per month. One data plan would be free because it's a new account, so they give us that one for free, so you're really paying for 9. Monthly cost on the data plan for those 10 devices comes to $269.91, excuse me. That includes unlimited talk, text, and data. So if you bring that down below and you add everything up for all the charges, your total. The iPhones is what we looked at, which was the iPhone 11. It's definitely not the newest one on the market, but it's not the oldest one on the market because they're under a government contract, so you're not going to get the new iPhone, whatever they are up to today. Yeah, 14. But so those were, like I said, 10 iPhone 11s. So we'd have 138.80 at $13.88 per one. The monthly plan, like I just went down through, was $269.91 for the data fee, and then we'd have the SMB internet again for $72.97, which brings the total cost to $481.68 a month for 10 devices. If you want, they have had really good luck working with Spectrum and getting the accounts. I know Verizon also has plans that we can look at. Are you guys still interested in this? And do you want me to get another one from Verizon to see what they say?
Now, Mike, what company are you with? You have a town cell phone, right?
Yeah.
Is it with Spectrum as well, or?
Mike's in the Stone Age with a flip phone. Okay.
Okay.
So, and his is still under Verizon. I'm just picking on you, Mikey. But yeah,
Okay.
there it is. So,
I like it.
for the young kids that haven't seen one of those, there you go.
Mike, you dial that?
Mikey with his phone he'll tell you the service because of the phone itself. It's not because of Verizon. It's just because the phone is so old. It's very spotty. It's hard to get.
No, it's not really Verizon. It's just where I live. And
Yeah, and it's
and
the
nothing.
phone. So, part of the 10 devices would be naturally getting our highway superintendent a new one and bring him into the 21st century, right, Michael?
Wow.
So,
A big one like this.
yeah. No, those are like those 14s you was talking
Yeah.
about. They look like a mini iPad.
Wow.
But
Can I ask a question?
no, go ahead.
Please.
Yes.
10 phones.
Mhm.
I'm just thinking, I know Mike absolutely needs one.
Yep,
Howard Newton
yep.
needs one. Sam Campbell needs one. Supervisor needs one. I personally can't see councilmen having a separate, and I'm just talking about myself, I have a hard time carrying this one and keeping track of it.
Yeah.
And to have two phones, I know security wise, you know, if somebody calls, they can confiscate your phone or whatever, but you know what? I'll bet you I don't get, well, I've been on the board since January, I haven't got any calls other than town board members.
But those are all subject.
They're all subject and I agree, but you know what? If the town gave me a phone right now, it would sit on the charger, I'd check it maybe once or twice a day. And that would be the extent.
Yeah, I agree with them.
I agree
It's
with that
not
100%.
necessary at all.
And has anybody went any farther to look into some of the other towns? Do their councilmen have phones? I don't foresee too many towns having phones for everybody on the board.
Well, listen
saying
here,
that there's
before you
definitely a need
hammer
for
me
some.
on this, because
No,
you
I'm
guys
not
have.
hammering
not
you, we're just
hammering
giving our
you.
opinion.
So, again, it was brought up. I told you that I would get you the information. If you feel there are less phones that are needed, or you guys feel that you don't want them, that's fine. I can get a recalculation on what it would cost for less phones. It was also addressed that, like Cliff should have one as far as our dog
Yeah,
control.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be.
Sure.
it.
So we're still,
That's fine,
Yeah.
but if we don't have anybody any more than that,
Mike,
No.
Howard,
Howard,
dog control.
Mike, dog control, Kevin.
Gary.
Gary,
Oh, Gary, I don't think you carry two phones. I don't even carry one.
I don't know. But like I said, that's something that we can discuss at a work session. Talk to everybody, find out what I really wanted to know, so I can compare apples to apples. Is, do you want me to get another price from Verizon? Or do you want to hold off, scale back on what the phones are? I don't think it's gonna change much, because that is an individual. You're still getting the one phone for free here because it's the new account for up to 1 year. I don't know if having 5 phones or 10 phones is gonna change the individual costs that I just quoted you. You know, other than it will be less because you don't have the same amount of devices and you don't have the same amount of lines open. So that's something that we can talk about.
Can we give
Work
Mike a new
session.
one?
No, and if you cancel this, I don't get to buy anything. So, it's up to the board to decide what we finally wanna do, and how many we want. And then we can go from there.
Well, there's 3
This whole
board
thing
members
will
sitting
be-
here now, we all said we don't need one.
No, I understand, and I don't have a resolution tonight to do that.
Right.
All I was doing was bringing you the updated information, so we can work this out. at a
I think if
work
we
session.
sit down in a work session and figure out who we really should designate a phone to, I think we
You know
could
what?
drop from 10 to
Can you
probably
get a
5.
price on the ones that we just referred to? Mike, Howard, Sam, dog control,
Himself.
and
But
yourself.
originally, when I was counting, I was up to 6 already, but, just naming off what we had did. What I can do, like I said, so we're not going through this is really work session stuff, but, what I can do is I can get a quote on, say, 6 phones or 7 phones. Before I even do that, I'll get a hold of everybody by email or text and say, these are the ones that I've designated that may need a phone. And then if you guys agree to that, I'll get it for that specific amount.
Okay,
Okay?
I'm good with that.
I'm good with that.
Sure.
All right. Okay, you're all aware we have a CDBG grant that is being administered by Friends of the North Country. And this is for housing redevelopment. So what I did is gotten everybody copies of the last 3 months. Val had your name.
Oh, hey, Strong name.
So again, they haven't started any work on any of them. This goes, again, this will go for February, March, or January, February, and March, okay? They have designated so far, if you look at that back page, they have 12 applications, you'll see that at the bottom. And they have one application at this time that's complete. That's as far as they've gotten so far, so, you know, work has been done, no money has been spent on this grant, but it is important that the town keep a record of making sure that we're reviewing what they are doing, because it is definitely a town CDBG loan. They just administer it, so you have to have the overview of it. So if you have any questions with that, just let me know. I'll continue to update you. Like I said, there's nothing really new here since February, other than one application has been completed. And they still have the 12 that they've been working on since January. There's no questions with that. As part of the CDBG protocol is that we do have to have oversight and make sure that we're keeping track on what's going on with that. Sam has applied again this year, and therefore the town has applied this year to the Clinton County Youth Bureau. They have given $1,700 towards the Town of Schuyler Falls for its recreation program. So at this point in time, it looks like he's got his youth bureau money to help out with the recreation program. And that is the last communication that I had. All right, monthly reports. Everybody's got a chance to look at the monthly report. So I'll entertain a motion to file a
Motion.
by Lindsay,
Second.
by Vern. Roll call.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Facto?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
Yes. Okay, receipts. Tax collector, $89,184.02. Town clerk, $490. Morrisonville Water, $26. Justice Barber, $960. Justice Van Artwick, $2,029.50. Cash receipts, $1,000. CVPH Medical Center, Fitness in the Park. $229.05 from Ambit Energy. That's a rebate check we get from Ambit. These are all Ambits. $8.66 on another Ambit account, $95.16 on another Ambit account, $11.94 another Ambit account, and $94.15 on the last one. So we just got all those in back today. New England Waste Scott Mel, $269.80. Phil Van Norwick, check returned. That was for $324.50. He was scheduled to go to one of his annual trainings. Because of the snowstorm, that was canceled. So he returned the check back in. He will have to go to another one. All right, so can I get a motion to accept the receipts?
I'll move.
That is Sherm. Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Facto?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
Yes. Okay, minutes of the planning board, there were none. Minutes of the zoning board dated 2/22/2023. Can I get a motion to file those?
Move.
Second.
By Reggie, seconded by Sherm. Roll call?
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Facto?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
Yes. Okay, that brings us to department reports. Councilman?
I have nothing at this time.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. In terms of, a couple of meetings ago, we ran into an issue regarding rules of procedure. And I met with Kevin and talked to him about certain rules that we had enacted, maybe months ago, a couple of years ago, Kevin.
It was in 2020, it looks like.
But anyway, my thing is that if someone comes to a town board meeting, like, for example, I've been to several county legislative meetings, and the chair there would say, does anyone want to address this board right at the beginning of the meeting? You don't have to pre-sign, you have to do nothing. And I think any town resident that comes in here, takes the time to be here, should be able, at the beginning of the meeting, to address the board. Of course, there's restrictions as well that we had put in place for, think like 5 minutes or something of that nature. But I'm wondering if we could amend that rule of procedure to allow residents to just simply come in here, address the board. They might have children at home. They might not be able to stay here for 2 hours. And that's just something I'd like to bring to a work session to ask if I would have any support on amending that rule of procedure that we have in effect now. And I believe the town board could amend it. I think they could.
I think you can set up whatever agenda you want. So, you know, it can be at the beginning or at the end. You know, the majority of boards I've seen, they're usually at the end, but it doesn't mean it
I've
can't
checked
be at the
into
beginning.
other towns, and quite a few, Mike, are at the beginning. And that's just, you know, the county. I mean, we could look forward to the county, same thing. They don't have to really pre-sign. They could come in here and address the board and leave if they want to leave. And that's just something
So,
I'd like to have
if I could
considered.
ask a question, now you're saying have them address the board before the meeting, but not after the meeting?
Actually, I would like both. Personally, I would like both because they might gain information in the meeting that then they could discuss it at the end.
Well, I've been to a number of county meetings and I don't ever remember them letting anybody just speak.
I've been to
Maybe-
many
maybe they
too,
changed it.
and
I haven't been in a
that's
while.
their
I haven't been in
procedure.
a while,
Sure.
but, I mean, for someone to come in and address the board before the meeting even starts, and so then it opens up an issue.
Oh no, we'd have roll call first.
Oh yeah, no, I understand that, but what I'm saying is if, by having someone sign up to address the board, at least give us an idea that you're gonna ask about recreation, so that we can kind of know ahead of time, so we can have the answers for them. And that's why I think, and maybe I'm wrong, I think that's the way the county, they want to know about it so they can give you an answer. I would want to, somebody asks me a question and it's right off the wall, it's like, I don't know, we'll have to get back to you.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
it
I
saves
just
the time.
attended one,
But
and that isn't the way it works.
I think it's I think that's a work session issue, and I'd be willing to.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah, I would
if,
too.
that's all.
I think we can do it at a work session.
That's basically what you asked for
not
at the
in-
beginning. if
Right,
there would be
Okay,
any
I'd like to
interest,
review it, and maybe we
Um,
could change it. Maybe we could.
Yeah, I mean, right now, we do follow these, so they do have like communications like we just did, and I just got done doing the communications, we have addressed these before that, or any petitions that, if somebody really has a petition that they'd like to address this board, as long as they let us know at the beginning so we can recognize them, okay? Because otherwise, I don't know they want to address the board at the beginning of the meeting unless I'm aware that they let me know that they want to do that, and I don't want to miss anybody from speaking. So that's, again, one of the reasons why we ask them to give us a name and a topic so that I can say, you know, Mr. Garcelle or Mr. Martin, okay, go ahead and.
It would be a
do
minor
that.
change, that's all. If you guys would do it.
Yeah, I believe that this board has been transparent and clear and taken a lot of criticism over the time, as well as a lot of some support over the years by having those types of conversations back and forth with the residents, so. Yeah, let's look at that at a work session. I will tell you that we spent about 8 months getting through this. And that was adopted on August 25th of 2020, is when we first started looking at it, excuse me. And then, so like I said, this is what the rules and regulations that we came out with. It was passed by this board. Everybody, including the residents at the time, were allowed to give their opinions at open forum. And again, I have that before us. So we can go over that, look at it, and see if there's any way we can make some modification.
Okay.
Move over at a work session.
Okay. And the only other one call I had was a resident who filed a complaint regarding this Rixon Avenue situation with unlicensed vehicles, with, I don't know how to describe it, but anyway, the resident filed a complaint in writing over 3 months ago, and I'm liaison to code enforcement, and I haven't heard really where we're at. I know we had talked about doing a survey of the property of Rixon Avenue to find out where the street actually existed over there. There's so many items all over the place over there, and I believe the code enforcement officer had told me that until we get a survey, I can't really go and enforce the rules. And that's where we're sitting, I believe, I guess.
Well, I don't agree with that. Okay, I'll tell you that right on the record, because we do have a street there, and it is a town street, okay?
I agree with you.
So, we do have right of ways, and we do have boundaries that are part of our streets. So we don't need a survey to figure out where a road is, because that's already been done, okay? The survey that we had talked about was surveying the lots on the back so that we could look for putting a turnaround hammerhead on the back so the plows wouldn't have to back in there and push out and then have to again drive in one way and then back all the way out to plow both sides of the road. Because there is not a turnaround or a big enough area in the back. So that's what a surveying, excuse me to be proper term, comes in to make sure that we may have some property on the back of the town owns there that we can utilize for that.
Sure,
thing.
I'm aware of that.
As far as,
Can I,
you know, the 3 months, sure, but just let me finish my thought, please. As far as the 3 months, you're well aware that we have been in the middle of getting from one code enforcement officer to another. So I don't like the implications that we've been sitting on this, because it hasn't been that we've been sitting on it. The fact of the matter is that unfortunately we lost our old code enforcement officer. Howard's been going through the training to get his certifications, and he hasn't just recently. How has it been, Howard? 3 weeks maybe?
About that.
Okay, so I don't like the indication that we've been sitting on our hands here, because that's not the case. And I have spoke to Howard about that personally, and that's on his list of to-do things. So unfortunately in government, sometimes the wheels move slow, okay? I would like a lot of my projects that I'm working on to get done in a snap of the fingers, but it just don't always happen that way. But it's not like we don't take every complaint seriously. I'll tell you, as a town supervisor, I take every complaint seriously. So that will be addressed, and I'm sure that Mr. Newton will be working on that and give us an update to whoever the complainant was, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Reggie, I appreciate it.
can I ask?
Yes, sir, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's all right.
Go ahead.
Do we have a deed for Rixon Avenue?
That is what we're working on. From what I understand, looking at the research, help can help with this, but Sherm was the one that kind of did some of the research. I know that, again, there's been several people working on that. Reggie went down and looked through some of the stuff down at the county to try to find that out and what properties there were. But that should be easily taken care of right here through Gary, first of all, because whoever owns those properties are gonna show up on the tax assessment. Either we own them and we're paying tax on them, right? Or whoever owns them is gonna show up on that right here. But from what I understand, you went down to the county, and according to the county records, those are still our deeds.
According to Gary, it'd say, yeah. Mike, you had something to say?
Yeah. Well, I took over January 1st of 2020, and I'm still going through a bunch of paperworks and the filing cabinets up there. I found something the other day on a few of the roads, not all the roads. They still may be up there somewhere. But I've been searching through the filing cabinets, and I found something on Rickson Avenue the other day. I didn't bring it tonight. I figured that's work session. I'll bring it. I'll get with Mr. Newton, as if he doesn't have enough to do now. I mean, we're gonna do our best and do what we have to do. I'll get that information.
Does it look like we have man for a turnaround?
Not at this time. I'm not gonna, say too much, But
All I was
I was
getting at is
surprised in
if
my
you find-
searching.
If you find something, I'm happy to look at it
Yeah.
and see what it says.
Right, and then after we find out, and that's what we're talking about, after we find out whether truly we have deeds to land at the end of that road, then I would suggest that we get surveyed, which we kind of talked about the cart before the horse there a little bit, but that would be the next phase of that, to get it surveyed so that we know exactly where our town lines are and the property lines are of the town, so that we can make sure we stay within that and the setbacks for the turnaround.
Actually, tomorrow I'll get it down here at the town hall as soon as possible. What I found.
Okay.
So, the sooner the better.
Perfect.
Mike, would your CHIPS funding list indicate the number of feet on Rickson Avenue?
Should, yes.
It should.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, I can bring that also.
Yeah,
Then it's out to you.
it would be.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. Thanks, Kevin. Okay.
All right. Highway, Mike, you got anything else that you want to know?
Yeah, well, hey, thanks to the board, I still got that loader. We're waiting on that loader. I called the other day. The last I knew it was supposed to be an April delivery, but now it's pushed back to at least June. Good things you gotta wait for, apparently.
So are you,
You know.
what are we waiting on that?